from, and welcome back to the Grand Prestige League LMP Masters. And now it is time for the third and penultimate qualifying session of the season here. So it's gonna be a lot of fun here today. There's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff going on here today. So in a moment here, we're still waiting for the session to officially launch. The session is open, but right now it is just Chemazure. And so actually I believe Chemazure has actually already done all of his pre-qualifying sessions. So something I actually was not aware of initially is that you only get 2 pre-qualifying sessions. So the drivers who cannot participate, there's only 2 drivers who actually cannot participate anymore of these sessions. It is Comer and Nuko, so those 2 will no longer be around for any of the pre-qualifying sessions. P2 and P3 at the moment. Well, the time I have a 105.128 for Comer, and then Nuko with a 105.175, and then Alex, who was in the session that I wasn't in because we actually redid session 2 because session 1 had a incorrect penalty setting. So there was a third session that wasn't streamed, unfortunately. So it actually allowed Alex, Illusion, Flaring Aces, Ruzi, Ducadono, May JP, and Pixel to get in another session. So yeah, and we actually have 14 drivers registered now. So it is it's gonna be pretty fun to see how this one plays out. So yeah, so once again, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus. I'll be your host and commentator for the session today. And once again, it's business as usual. It's the 1-hour session from 1300 to 1400 is pretty much going to be the time. Get as many laps in as you can and try to get the best qualifying time possible. And then you pretty much just wrap up your quali session. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll compare the time compared to your best time of the session, and then we'll pretty much go from there and see how this all plays on out. So there's nobody on track at the moment. Chemazure is still in the pits. I mean, I could go to track, but I am A, in the incorrect car, and B, I'm pretty sure my lap time would not even be remotely good enough to qualify for this, because like we all know, GPL has some of the most fantastic drivers in Gran Turismo when it comes to Super Formula, and also these drivers have been showing their pace with the LMP one as well, although it's been a bit of a trickier time managing the Toyota that is used in the session. And actually, while we wait, I'll actually bring out the Toyota that is currently being used. For anyone who may be joining in and unaware, it is this car right here, the Toyota TS030 hybrid from 2012. And delivery is not from any team here, but it's from the North American Esports organization called M80. Maybe we can get them into GPL one day. I'll have to see if I can ask about that. But yeah, so here we go. We're just going to go ahead and just chill out for a bit. Once again, I'm going to go and talk about this track here. We're at the Mission Raceway Road, Atlanta. It technically has 11 corners, but actually technically it's got 12 corners, but it's actually 14 because turn 10 is split between 10A and 10B, which is the final chicane just before you make the run down turn 11 and 12. And to begin new lap, it is 2.54 miles around, 4.088 kilometers, mid-speed balancer performance, which balancer performance is enabled in the series, but there is a bit of leniency in terms of what you actually can tune. So instead of being fully BOP, where you pretty much just locks everything, you actually still have the opportunity to go ahead and adjust your ride height, your aerodynamics, and your brake balance. So there's 3 settings you can adjust. Everything else is tuned to the balancer performance specification. So pretty much just doing a lap around this track, you go to turn 1. Actually, I'll follow the little dot on screen at the moment. Once it begins its next lap, it's the only thing doing laps right now is the little track dot. So alright, so track dot's going down into turn number 1. and then going ahead and making its way through Sector 1 into the S's, and it goes into what I like to call the drumstick corner after the exit of turn 5, goes into turn 6 and 7, and then goes down the massive 1,275 meter long straight, or 0.79 miles, from the exit of turn 7 all the way to the entrance of turn 10A. Goes in 10B, 11 and 12, and that is pretty much the lap around here. So we're just waiting for some of the drivers to go ahead and show up, and then we're going to go ahead and get underway with the session. The timer, I believe, has started already, but so let's just go ahead and talk about the times and the positioning of the drivers here so far. So Alex currently tops the times right now, like I mentioned earlier, a 105.9096, and then 32 hundredths of a second behind is Comer, and then behind that is Nuco, that is 79 hundredths of a second behind. And then we have Illusion, who is 9/10ths of a second behind, followed by Flaring Aces, V Ruzi, which is known as Arrow, and then we have Ducadono, May JP, Chemazure, and Pixel. With Comer, Nuco unable to improve their times in the session, which they'll still be able to compete entirely. But yeah, so those are the times right now. Alex does have the fastest time currently, so we'll see if he can improve his time if he joins in this session, or there's one more session happening tomorrow at, I believe, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So be sure you guys are here for that. Turn on post notifications, drop a like, and subscribe if you have not already. And once again, I do want to make a massive shout out to the league sponsor of W.GG. It is a healthier energy drink that you can pour straight into water, mix it all up, and then you get a healthier alternative to the Monsters, to the Red Bulls. Now, you may say, well, Monster Red Bull tastes better. Yeah, but they also have a lot more other chemicals that are probably illegal in some countries. But W is a cleaner alternative. You don't get the crash that you do get from energy drinks. And if you use our promo code GPL at W.GG at checkout, then you can go ahead and get yourself a 10% discount on anything you order in the store. And also, you get to support the league, and we can start to do some really cool things in the future. So once again, there's a lot of ways you can go ahead and support us. Also follow us on Instagram at the Grand Prestige League. And any way that you can support us, whether it's just chilling on the stream, chatting with the community, dropping a like, subscribing, following us on social medias, or if you use our promo code at W, any way you can support is absolutely greatly appreciated. So we're just kind of still waiting here. Chemazure still in the pits. He might actually even be waiting. He might not even, he is the host of the session, but he might not actually even race out this time. He might be waiting because there's still one more practice session, or one more quality session. And also, not to mention that you can only compete in 2 of them. And then with the erasure of session 1, Chemazure only competed in session 2. And then and he wasn't there for the pseudo session, so he's pretty much got one more session left of eligibility. And now we see another driver joining on in. Which driver is this? I believe this is, I'm going to pick a guess. It's not going to be Nuco, it's not going to be Comer. I'm going to say it's Alex. Oh no, it is BP. Alright, so BP is here now. We do have a driver joining the session. I believe that is actually a newcomer, so let me check. Yes, BP is a newcomer, a fellow Frenchman, alongside Nuco. So this is BP's first session. So BP is first time here competing in the Grand Prestige League. So we love to have you here. Hopefully we'll see you in Super Formula as well. It's always good to see these new drivers going ahead and jumping on in. So yeah, now we have BP here. So I think we actually might even still be waiting to be given the official go-ahead. So BP is here now, and not to mention, he's also on track. So we're going to jump on board now with the French driver as he makes his way through. He goes through the pit lane and out he comes in that Rebellion-themed Toyota TSL 50, making his way through the track. The number 88 car, the first car on track in the session, and it's his first session, so we'll probably see him tomorrow as well. So it'll be interesting to see because sometimes when a driver joins the league, I kind of have an inkling of their pace or some of their experience because of some other leagues that I have witnessed, but I actually have nothing on BP, so if anyone does have anything on BP, then that would be awesome if you could let me know, because I'm curious to see. That's one of my favorite things about seeing new faces here at the Grand Prestige League, is that we can always kind of see what they can do, because they're usually a dark horse coming into this. Usually there's not a lot of information available to us about what this driver is capable of, and now we do get a good chance. Now, we know some of these drivers have been kind of struggling with this Toyota, with it being such an unforgiving car, and it's been really feisty through some of the corners, and it has a pretty big tendency to get airborne. So yeah, we'll see how this driver manages. So BP is going through, and it's already off to a rocky start as BP goes for a bit of a slide, and that is pretty much the first lap pretty much erased. It won't be a solid lap from him, so I'm actually really intrigued to see how BP does, because I mean, I'm not going to take a lot away from that first slide, because pretty much everybody has so far in every session, everybody has struggled in these LMP2 or this LMP1 car. So I mean, the WEC champion from our top class of Super Formula of Nuco, he was struggling with this car. He was sliding around, and drivers with known pace like Comer has also struggled with this car. Keminger also has some really good pace, and the Super Formula car also struggled with this car, and he's struggling particularly with this machine. But it just shows you how unforgiving that this machine is. It doesn't matter if a driver is a newcomer, experienced, or even a champion, a multi-time champion of that. I believe Nuco has taken multiple titles here at the Grand Prestige League in the WEC category, but even a multi-time Super Formula champion is struggling with this car. So this car in general is a tough cookie to break. And but right now this lap is looking much better from BP. It's a 1:18 right now, which isn't the fastest lap possible, clearly, because he's just now 9 seconds up after the first sector. So he's going through drumstick corner now, making his way down into the back stretch. Gonna go ahead and make his way down. So right now the time to beat is a 1:05.09. So that is the time to beat at the moment. Can BP usurp Alex on top of the food chain? It's a good time. He is up by 11 seconds now. He needs to gain a bit more time now. He needs to really make this count through the final sector. I mean, Comer had a time good enough for a 1:04, but just unfortunately just barely missed it. It's a 1:07.140. That's actually going to put him in P7 overall right now. So good. He's going to jump over Ducadono, MJP, Keminger, and Pixel at this point. So he's going to start off in P7 right now, which is really good. So for a newcomer to a league, sometimes it's kind of hard to find your footing, but BP is doing fantastic right now. He's even almost a half a second up in this sector too. So this time is really going to start trickling down, and we might even see him cracking near the top 3. Because the champion runner-up and the Super Formula 500 winner of Lusion, even though barely, he didn't even crack the 105s. He is at a 106.021. And at this rate, BP might actually jump into 4th on his second lap, or on his third lap in this car. So, but he does have experience on this car. He's already got 218 miles clocked on this machine already, so he may have some experience competing in other LMP1 leagues. And it's a 106.642. So that's actually going to put him up into 6th. So now he's up in 6th. He just jumped Arrow, who are at a 107.06, so he's now in the 106 club. So far we're about 15 minutes roughly into this quali session. And right now BP is doing fantastic work in these laps. So we're going to stay on board with him. Oh, Kemajur is actually now out. So we may see Kemajur go in and take his second session. Probably would be the best chance to, because he is the host of this lobby. So it'd be a good chance for him. His time, he's currently in P11 or P10 right now. After BP's score gets figured into things. Because he's got a 107.959. So about 3.5 tenths away from MJP to try to jump up. So without BP's time, he is currently in P9, just at a Pixel, who Pixel really has been struggling to get to grips with this car, as he is currently at a 109.218, so he is 4 seconds off of Alex's pace in terms of these pre-qualifying sessions, but there's still another pre-qualifying session left to go. So in terms of this, I mean, Alex does another session, Kemajur is going to finish up his session, so pretty much Comer, Nuko, and Kemajur are going to be out of available sessions now after this. So we're actually going to hop on board with Kemajur now, as he is currently on track. He's going to go ahead and make his way through. Going now down into turn number 1, he's going to begin this first flying lap. So making his way through turns 2 through 4, and now heading into what is known as the S's. Oh, and it's a big slide into the wall. Got a little too hot there on corner exit, and that is Kemajur having a bit of a tough time getting started here with these LMP1 machines. So for those of you who this may be your first session actually popping in to check out what the LMP Masters series is all about, or just curious about GPL in general, well, first of all, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and I'm glad to have you here. It's a bit of a slide there from BP. He's not happy about that one. But to just tell you more about this league, the Grand Prestige League primarily is a Super Formula League first and foremost, but ever since the end of last season, we have, or not the previous season, but after the end of season 5, we actually we started doing a community series, which last year was the GT 500 series, which was pretty fun, unless you count Kyoto into the mix. Aside from Kyoto, the other 5, or I think it's 5 races, are all on the YouTube channel. It is actually the first full season I commentated here with the Grand Prestige League. They also had started the Super Formula 500, which is a 500-mile long race around a track in the Super Formula cars. Last year it was Spa, this year is Deep Forest Raceway. So very long but very challenging races. And then we also do Super Formula. We have 2 categories of Super Formula. We have the Sprint World Tour, which is our Division 2, and then the WEC, which is our Division 1. So we do Super Formula primarily. Super Formula pre-qualifying kicks up again in November of this year, and then the season should start sometime December, maybe 2026. But we'll be doing Super Formula. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before that, we had this LMP Masters series. So the LMP Masters series is our community series, our community mini series, as BP slides around a bit. But we're gonna do some fun stuff here. So we have the GPL 250 coming up here shortly, which there's no official date for that, I don't think. I think it's gonna happen at some point either during or after the LMP Masters series, because so with the LMP Masters series we have 7 races on the calendar, and there's 3 LMP1 cars that you can go ahead and use: the Audi R18 hybrid, the Porsche 919 hybrid, and the Toyota TS050 hybrid. Now I know what you may be thinking, where's this Toyota? I thought we were using the TS030. Well, the thing about the TSO30 is it is the one make car that we're using at the end of the season. So, because, oh, and that's a big hit from Kemmerer. Surprisingly, there's no damage on the Toyota, but he's going to call it into the pits as well. But, to continue on about the championship structure is, so there's 3 LMP1 cars that you can use, but since there is such a massive performance gap between these vehicles, with the Audi being head and shoulders above the rest, and the Toyota being pretty much miles into the abyss, it's pretty much, ooh, that's a crash there from BP, unfortunate stuff there, but going back to the rest of the series, so you have to use each car twice for the first 6 rounds, and then the last round is a one make using the car that we are currently using here today. So let's go and talk about the calendar, because it's going to be every other week that we go ahead and run the series. So taking a look at the schedule, we kick off on August 3rd at the Daytona Road Course. And all these races are timed races for 1 hour. And then we head to the race we did for the most recent SF500, which is Deep Forest Raceway. And then we do Spa-Francorchamps, the Circuit de la Sarthe, which is the 24 Hours of Le Mans track, Watkins Glen, Fuji, and Suzuka. So, there we go. That is pretty much how it's all going to go ahead and set up. So yeah, it's every other week, and I think in one of those gap weeks we might do the GPL 250, which I would tell you guys more information about that if I actually had more information about it, but unfortunately there really isn't a lot of information. There's been some inklings on what is going to be done with that series. We may be using the newer F2500, which is the 90s inspired fantasy F1 car that was brought in a few updates ago. Also heard that maybe the Red Bull might be used. I also heard about that, but we'll see how that works. We'll see. Once I get more information, it'll be posted onto our socials. So once again, follow us at the Grand Prestige League on Instagram so you can be up to date with everything that's happening. And yeah, so we're still going to continue on about 22 minutes into the session. So that's a good thing. We're surprisingly about halfway through so far. So we're going to go ahead and just continue on through. We're going to actually take a quick step aside, and we're going to do a full onboard lap with both of these drivers as they go ahead, and we'll be right back here momentarily. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so that was an onboard with Kemmerer for a lap, but BP unfortunately was not in a great spot. So we'll just continue on with how this is going so far. BP now he's still on the top of the session and just spinning at low speeds. That Toyota is notoriously twitchy from what I've seen from the drivers and how they're talking in session 2, I believe. That was just such an unforgiving car. It just really takes no prisoners. So, I mean, a lot of credit to these drivers for driving this very tricky and dangerous machine. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any other drivers kind of file on in for, because I mean, so far it's been mixed attendance. I know the offline session, or the session that wasn't streamed, had the most drivers in it. It pretty much doubled the amount of drivers we have here for today's session, but still good to kind of see the relative pace of these drivers. I think BP has got potential to do some really crazy stuff here. I mean, his time is actually pretty solid, so just gonna check again. So a 106.2, that's still gonna keep him in P5, or sorry, P6. So he needs to shave off, if he wants to be in the top 5, he needs to shave off about another 10th and a half, actually a bit more than a 10th and a half, so he needs to shave off quite a bit of time if he wants to go ahead and bring down that lap time and join the top 5. But I mean, it's really good pace right here from BP, so I mean, he's made a few mistakes, but everybody's been having a bit of a tough time with this LMP1 car, so nothing against BP. This is a car that everybody's been seemingly struggling with. Now maybe Alex, Lucian, and some of the other drivers I haven't seen had an easier time of it compared to Keminger, Nuko, Comer, and BP. But I mean, so far these drivers have really just had a tough time of things with this car. It's not an easy car to drive. I mean, clearly we're seeing a lot of drivers kind of spin out and make crashes, and actually, if you remember from the first stream, from the pre-qualifying that ended up being scrapped, Keminger actually went several feet airborne, so yeah, anything can happen here, but it just looks like it might be a time good enough to slot BP into the top part, but he slides. It was a purple sector, but yeah, that lap is pretty much going to be dead in the water. And the same thing going to happen to Comer, because Comer at one point was close to setting a 104, the first sub-minute 5 time around the circuit in that LMP1 car, but just kind of it didn't really work out so well for him. He just kind of lost it on the last corner, so this is a very tough track. And who knows, maybe we'll see it in the Super Formula Series coming in November. I've heard some pretty interesting inklings about what might be happening, so yeah, you guys should definitely stick around. If you guys want to get involved as well, if you have a team that maybe wants to compete in GPL, or you as a driver want to try to join a team to compete in GPL, then go ahead and drop a comment into the chat and we will provide you with a Discord link, and then the amazing admin team will go ahead and get you all set up and ready to go so that you can jump into, well, I think we're actually full on registrations for the LMP Masters series, so if you sign up for the LMP Masters series, there's a chance you might not qualify, because I believe we're already at the 14 driver cap. And the reason why we have that 14 driver cap is because there are 2 commentators that join each race, and it's a bit of a spin for Keminger, so he is once again still struggling to try to get to grips with this LMP1 car like everybody is. But the reason why there's 16 slots in the online lobbies, and we use 14 of them for the drivers, and then 2 for the commentary team, which consists of myself and the SWT Drivers Champion of B23. So it's a commentary duo that's usually here in the box, although I'm the only one commentating for the pre-qualifying sessions. But you will get 2 commentators when we actually kickstart the season. And actually pretty close. It's actually August 3rd that we kickstart things. It's BP also turns the LMP1 into a bit of a lawnmower, as we are down to about 30-ish minutes left, so right around half an hour to go in the session. So now we're going to be on board with Keminger as he makes his way through. He's going to want to try to improve, so he's going to try to manage that battery, because the battery drains really quickly on this Toyota, I think probably a bit quicker than it does in the real world. So it's the issue that its older brother has too. I think it's either older or younger brother. They both have that same kind of issue where the Toyota just burns through its battery super quickly. So it's got good acceleration, but it really cannot keep it up over the course of several laps. And at some point, it's just going to get swallowed up by the other LMP1s. And it seems to be just a Toyota LMP1 issue. I think the hypercar does okay in terms of battery management, although I will admit it's been a long time since I drove the Toyota, but I think it's better on battery management than the other two LMP1s, but we'll see. But yeah, so it would be interesting to kind of see, because it almost turns the races into like tire strategy, because in racing, obviously you have the racing softs, which are the quickest but the lowest lifespan, which, I mean, I know we're not dealing with tire life here, so that's why everybody is running not soft tire to get the most grip, to try to get the best qualifying time humanly possible. And then you have the drivers who are, or you have the medium tires, which is kind of like the 50-50, and then the hards, which are more durability but less grip. And we're kind of running into that situation with the cars here, so it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be just everybody uses the Audi for the first two, then everybody uses the Porsches, and then everybody uses the Toyotas, or if we're going to see some switch-ups happening where some drivers are going to go ahead and use those Toyotas first just to get them out of the way, or just try to keep it even. It'll be interesting to see how the car usage plays out. So everybody has to use all three cars twice, and then the one make is with this current car that you're seeing here on your screen. So should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the season. I mean, we have a very good calendar, very good drivers, and it's going to be very good racing, because these drivers are going to fight tooth and nail. There's no team standing, so it is only individual driver standings, so that is pretty much how it's going to sit. Normally when it comes to our Super Formula League, it is team-based and driver-based, so there's a driver and teams championship, but now it is, but for this series it is only drivers. You are still allowed to represent your team if you so desire, but it is not required. So, and I know there's at least one new team joining Super Formula. Hopefully we'll see some other teams join in as well. I know there's been some Gran Turismo teams that have been getting increasingly active on social media, and maybe we will see them here soon. We'll see, because GPL is pretty much the creme de la creme when it comes to Super Formula racing. Not to say that the other leagues are not as good, because there's some fantastic driving in other Super Formula leagues as well, but I will say that the Grand Prestige League has prestige for a reason. We're entering season number 7 starting in November. So yeah, so I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and I joined back in season 6, and actually technically before that, because I did the 2024 Super Formula 500 for GPL. That's my first time commentating, and actually that was the first time I actually did co-commentary with someone. So it was me and B23 in the booth that day, and it was the first time I actually commentated with someone. So a very awesome part of the beginning of my commentary journey, but the journey that we're all going to be really focusing on is the journey of these drivers as they learn with this LMP1 car. And right now I think BP has done a fantastic job in kind of adapting to this car a bit. As he spins out, that's a commentator's curse if I've ever bestowed one. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun this season. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too, because it is gonna be a really fun season. You're gonna see some excellent racing, some good battles from very talented drivers. Old rivalries are gonna be reignited in a new form with a new cars plural. We're gonna see probably the championship rivals from the Super Formula season of Nuco and Illusion go ahead and battle it out. The champion from the Toyota racing team and then the leader of Exodus Motorsports, the runner-up in the championship. That rivalry is probably going to be very intense. Alex right now topping the times. Comer's been quick as well. So, and it's going to be interesting because Whiteout, I believe Whiteout was a champion for the GT500 season last time out. Last time we did a special season, but it is going to be, it's going to be fun. We may even see some shocking names kind of fight for these upper positions. Like, I know in terms of pre-quali pace, I know Chemisher and Pixel right now right at the bottom, but it'll be interesting too because there's 3 different cars that these drivers are going to have to use before they get back to using this car. So maybe some of the cars will suit the other drivers better, so we may even see Pixel pick up a win, or maybe Chemisher will fight for a podium at some point in this season. There's just so many unknowns coming into this that I'm actually really excited. So I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully you guys are too. So we have about another 25 minutes left to go in the session, and so we're gonna actually go ahead and step away while BP takes a lap, and we'll be right back. Never mind, that was short-lived, as BP pretty much almost spins into a wall just about immediately. But yeah, 25 minutes left to go in the session, so both of our drivers currently just chilling out in the pits, maybe thinking about making some setup adjustments. Maybe try to get a bit more downforce, because a lot of these cars are sliding around quite considerably, as yeah, okay, BP does back out. He's probably going to go try to change some of his settings on his car, maybe try to get a slightly different tune on it to try to help him out a bit. We know drivers like to mess with different wing settings, but yeah, we'll see how this one tends to play out. So as everybody kind of exists in the pit lane for a bit, oh, here we go, Chemisher is about to go out now. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting because it's almost like a Super Formula race, but just with the LMP1. So it is timed, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of good battles, a lot of talented drivers, a lot of amazing tracks as well. Because you can have the best drivers in the world, but if the track selection doesn't allow them to really get the full potential out of themselves and the cars, then the racing is only going to be, it can only be so good. But we have banger tracks, banger cars, banger drivers, and overall this is probably going to be one of the best racing series in the existence of Gran Turismo. A lot of drivers giving it their all, and I'm still convinced that these drivers have the potential to give some of the GT World Series drivers a run for their money in Super Formula, LMP, and probably LMP as well, because these drivers are fantastic on their day. So Chemisher's going to go ahead and go for a lap. We'll see what he can do. He's going to make his way down into turn number 1 and then go through turns 2, 3, and 4 just before hitting the S's. Now he's going to the S's. A slight slide, but nothing too dangerous for Chemisher. Chemisher right now at a 107.959 as his best overall time. I believe he's got a 108 in this session at the moment. So he's going to make his way through the drumstick corners, and then he's going to put the foot to the floor as he makes his way down the back straight, that 1,275 meter long straight, making his way through turn number 9, the slight little kink, and then going into turns 10A and 10B, Goes hard on the brakes, recharges that battery a bit, then navigates his way through the chicane, using a little bit of curb on the outside there. As he makes his way through turn 11, going into turn number 12, you can take those last two corners flat out in these cars, and it's not quite an improvement, about 2 seconds off of his pace, but we'll see if he can go ahead and improve. He had full battery going into this. Gonna go ahead and hit the brakes, make his way through the corners here, the tricky section, and now going into the S's. As he goes ahead and makes his way through, goes through turn 5, now making his way down to the drumstick corners, going through turn number 6, and then he's gonna go to turn number 7, and now he's just gonna go ahead and put the foot to the floor. And now he's going to go through the slight kink known as turn 8, down the back stretch. Going to pass the penalty line. Doesn't have any penalties, so nothing for him to worry about. 7/10 up. Or 7/10 behind his personal best on this session, which is a 108. So not exactly the best lap unless he can pull out several tenths from this fully flat out section. Which he does not, about 6 tenths behind his personal best. Not ideal for the American driver, but BP isn't exactly improving either, as these two drivers go ahead and push themselves to their limits and beyond, trying to get the best possible lap time. Right now, Kemmerer sits in P10, and BP would sit in P6 at the moment, given his personal best time. But, yeah, it's going to be... I mean, the thing about this car is just, it's really unforgiving, and it really just... It doesn't take any prisoners. You do one slight thing incorrect, it just switches up and spins you round and round like a Le Mans Beyblade. And I feel like we're going to see quite a few spins, potentially, when we get to this car at Suzuka, because Suzuka is it's kind of a similar track to here, because you got the tricky S's, you got some really high speed corners, you got a pretty solid straight that would lead to 130R on Suzuka after a hairpin. So this track has some similarities to Suzuka. I think they even use the same BOP setting, which is interesting to note. But yeah, this car's going to be tricky around Suzuka, and expect quite a few spin outs just from how unforgiving this car is. But this track also is pretty unforgiving as well. We can't really discount how tricky Road Atlanta can be at times. It's got a lot of elevation changes and very quick corners that can really just unsettle a car, especially if there's heavy wind, which there's no wind right now, but there is a bit of a spin there from BP, and BP is actually going to back up, allow Kemmerer to go ahead, going to get off the racing line, go ahead and spin that car back around. We'll see about Kemmerer. He's going to improve across the line. No, that was actually an outlap, so no improvement there. Although that was a 104.154, but once again, that was an outlap, so doesn't count. Otherwise, that would actually be good enough for P1 by about just under a second of Alex's time, if that time were to count. But it is only an outlap, so we don't count those. So Kemmerer is going to go make his way through the drumstick corners as he goes ahead and tries to put the foot to the floor, try to go ahead and use that battery up. Going to make his way down the back straight after the exit of the second drumstick corner. And now he's going to begin the third and final sector. Is he up? Not at all. He is half a second down, just about. A little under half a second down, but the number 39 Toyota is... He just really hasn't found his groove since that initial qualifying session. And this is Kemmerer's last chance to really get a good time down. So pretty much after this, if he doesn't improve his time, then he won't be able to get another chance to improve his time. And then if we get over 14 people, or if we even get closer to 20 signups, which I think right now we're at 14 flats, I think we're at 14 signups flat. I mean, that's a potentially dangerous position because you might not even qualify for the series if we have 15 or more drivers because of the 2 spots are required for commentators, and it's pretty much a 14 driver grid, and Keminger does have a half a second time penalty for track limit violations. So now BP is going to be the next one up. We'll see what he can do as he continues. Maybe a bit of a snap on the exit of turn 5, it looks like. That could have been a bit dangerous there for the Frenchman. We'll see if he can go ahead and try to improve on his best time to maybe jump into that top 5, because he is super close to that top 5. And I mean, very, very close to the top 5. And I actually just saw this now. I don't know how I missed it, but Lujan is actually going to be in the session tomorrow. So we will have the Super Formula 500 winner from 2025 join for his second session tomorrow, which will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to be here for that. And yeah, it's going to be, I think that's probably going to be one of the busier qualifying sessions, I would imagine. So it's the final one. Everybody's going to pretty much try their best because it's going to be the last chance for everybody to get a good lap time in. So good to see Illusion in the chat. 15 minutes to go is the official warning given out by Keminger. And so that's going to prompt BP to get a move on here as he goes and gets through. So yeah, we're gonna take a quick step back. We're gonna allow BP to do his outlap, and then we'll come back and narrate his first flyer. So we'll be right back and watch him spin out about 3 seconds from now. Alright, so BP is going to go ahead and get going on his lap here. He's going to go ahead and make his way through the first couple of corners just before the S's, and this in itself is considered part of the S's, and it's a bit of a rally course for BP. The Frenchman getting a high second penalty and channeling France's rally history that has been shown with Citroën in the past, and Peugeot as well, and Renault not to mention. But this is a French driver that is not meant to rally, at least not yet. He might compete in a rally championship, and I did say, I think earlier at some point during these pre-qualifying sessions, maybe during one of the ones last week, that a rally championship could be fun for the next GP or the next community series that we do here. So maybe we can see a rally championship. That'd be a lot of fun, I think. Although fun to commentate versus fun to drive in are two pretty separate things, but usually if the driver's having fun, the commentators will too. So Keminger is going to go ahead and make his way down through turn 4 into the S's, and he is going to go ahead and just put the foot to the floor, go ahead and charge on through, and he's going to go ahead and just make the run, try to go down into turn number 6, the first corner of the drumsticks. And I believe someone actually just joined the session. I think I missed who it was, but we might have a third driver here for the final few moments of the session. So Keminger is going to go and make his way down the back straight. 1,275 meters of just back straight. He is not improving though, so it's not going to be an improvement for the American driver. I think it's going to go to give it another go, as he's going to go ahead and start through turn 11 into turn 12. And then it's going to be another attempt here from the American driver, just about 3 seconds slower. So I'm actually gonna check and see if someone new did join the lobby. Oh, it is Killswitch joining the lobby. And he dipped. Unfortunate. I thought maybe we'd see him compete again here, so... I think Killswitch is actually part of the registration. I just don't think he... Maybe he wasn't joining this session. He hasn't joined any yet, so he's only going to get one session to qualify if that is the case. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know some drivers are probably still preparing for the Super Formula season coming in November, or maybe even the GPL 250. Maybe there's preparation and testing for the GPL 250 that I am unaware of. But by a singular thousandth of a second, BP is improving. So it won't be enough to jump ahead of Flaring Aces in P5, but it will be it'll be an improvement nevertheless. So, I mean, he's extracting everything out of that car, trying to push that Toyota to its limits and beyond. We'll see if he can go ahead and manage. Now he's not improving anymore. He is down by under 0.2 of a second. It's going to be close to his personal best as we're down to the final 10 minutes of the session. But it is... Yeah, 10 minutes. I mean, you're probably going to get about 7 or 8 laps in, maybe, depending on if you have a wipeout or any kind of spin. Oh, Killswitch is back into the room. He's going to have to get a move on, though, and try to hurry and try to get some laps on the board. He's only on one session, though, so he could be a part of tomorrow's session alongside... Nuko's hosting this session, but he won't be able to participate in it, but he can do it alongside Alex, who still has another session, Lusion has another session, Killswitch is going to have another session. The only drivers that will be unable to partake in more of these sessions is Chemisher, Nuko, and Comer are the only three that are going to be ineligible for another session. I think they're still able to drive in the session, but their lap times will not count. So Killswitch is here in the lobby. Once he gets on track, we'll jump on board with the other American driver that is here. He's competed in several Super Formula seasons with the Grand Prestige League, most recently with High Caliber Racing, and he's pretty likely to return with that squad. And Killswitch is out on track at the moment, running the standard livery on this Toyota. As he's going to go ahead and begin, it's already a bit snappy there for Killswitch. Already snappy on the get-go, and this is just the L-lap, so... Oh, he's put no mileage in this car, so in Gran Turismo 7, he has never driven this car. Unless he has two of the same car, which, I mean, some people do. I mean, I have 7 Super Formula cars of both the Honda and Toyota varieties of just the SF23, and I think I might have 2 or 3 of the SF19, so I probably got close to 10 Super Formula, so I understand, but yeah, it doesn't have a lot of mileage on this Toyota, so he'll definitely going to put some on today. As we kind of watch him for the L-lap, and then we'll probably stick with Killswitch for a good chunk of this remaining part of the session, just because he wasn't here for the first 50 minutes of the session. Now he's here, and we're going to give him some good old screen time as he's about to go ahead and get started with the lap. Alright, so here we go. Gonna go down into turn number 1. Oh, and he's off into the grass. Not a great start there for the American driver. He's got to pretty much get a move on, though, because he really only has about 7 minutes left to go. So that's going to be an interesting one. So now he's making his way through the S's, going into turn 5, starting the drumstick. And he's going to go ahead and make his way into the drumstick corner. This will be his first lap, though, of the qualifying period. So he'll definitely have some time to really improve, because, I mean, he can do tomorrow's session as well. Like I said earlier, Chemisher, Nuko, and Comer are the only ones who are ineligible to get more sessions. Everybody else is either on 1 or 0 sessions, so I know for a fact we'll probably see BP, Killswitch, we're going to see Nuko, because he's his lobby host, and we're going to see Lusion as well, so that's at least 3 drivers that are going to be in tomorrow's session. And then I would probably venture to say that probably the other drivers who have only had one session are probably going to jump in on the next session. Which the next session is at 9 p.m. CET, which is actually 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So be sure to go ahead and stick around for that. Go ahead and drop a like, turn on post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. So you can always see whenever we go live here for the LMP Masters category. And then the upcoming GPL 250. And then, starting in November, we are back with Super Formula. And it's going to be so much fun with Super Formula. But before we get there, we go through LMP 1 Masters. And this season, like I've been preaching about for the last hour or so, it is going to be a fantastic season. And Killswitch is up 8 seconds on his personal best, so it's not purple times, but it is good times nevertheless. So that's going to be looking like to be a 111 maybe a 110. He's going to go ahead and come across the line. It's going to be a 110. So it is a better time on the board, but he will be in P12 at the moment. He'll be in last on the overall rankings. Pixel is ahead of him by about a second, but I think there's more pace there for Killswitch. I think he's got more pace on the table. There's more for him to show, and maybe it won't happen today. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. So he's improving though, improving by about 7.5 tenths. So it's more improvement. So he might actually jump Pixel's time at this point, with 4 minutes left to go on the clock. So the time to beat to put him out of last place is a 1 minute 9 second point 218. That'd be the time for Pixel. That'd be the time for Killswitch to jump ahead of Pixel. So he's up by 9/10 of a second. So I don't think he'll get ahead of Pixel here, but it'll definitely be a step in the right direction. It'll be a lot closer to Pixel. So that's a 1:10.341. So still 1.2 seconds behind Pixel there. So yeah, Chemistry's definitely got more time on the board to find if he wants to avoid being in last place and going across, as a rally car is not going to do any favors. He is down to 4 minutes left to go on the session. Let's check in with BP, also on the wall. Check in with Chemistry on an outlap. So Chemistry now, kind of keeping it slow so he can have as much battery as humanly possible to get ready to attempt another lap. So we got about 3 minutes, so we'll do 1 lap with each driver. Starting off with the lobby host and the driver that will not be returning tomorrow. It is Chemistry. We'll see what he can do. He's going to go ahead and burn the battery down into turn number 1. And then he's going to go ahead and make his way through turn 1, incident free. We've seen some drivers lose it there, but now here comes this section where I think most drivers tend to lose it, is here in the tricky section of turns 2 to 4. And then you have the S's going into turn number 5, making the run down into turn number 6, 3.5 tenths off of his personal best. So not quite the time he was looking for at the moment. And then we're going to go ahead and see how he's going to manage. He's going through the second drumstick. And now he's going to go foot to the floor, going ahead and trying to burn through the rest of this straight, this massive back straight. He went through turn 8, now going through turn 9. It's a pretty much flat out all the way until he hit turn 10A, which is the first part of the turn 10 chicane. He cuts on through. Let's see what his sector, well, I didn't see what his sector time was after that last part, but it might be pretty solid. So he's going to come across the line, not quite an improvement. So what about Killswitch? Is Killswitch able to improve here? As we're down to the final 2 minutes of the session, Killswitch is going to go ahead and try to make something happen here. He's going to burn it. Not quite an improvement, 77/100ths off of his personal best. Down to the final minute. This is the last chance for a lot of these drivers to make time. So the final lap announcement should be coming through pretty shortly. Killswitch may get another lap if he finishes just before 2 o'clock. So he's trying, though. He's going to be really trying to move that car around, trying to wrestle that Toyota through. He's up by 2/10 though, so this is definitely going to be an improvement. This is definitely going to put him, oh, but a half-second penalty throws that attempt away. So it's not going to pay off for him. Jumping back on with Kemajur, because BP is still on the L lap, so I don't know if BP will actually make it. So maybe. We will see. Coming across the line. Alright, Kemajur gets another lap, and so does BP. So BP does get another lap. Just in the nick of time. It just hit 2 o'clock. So this is the final lap for everybody, or they may get one additional lap. So we will go ahead and stay on board with BP, because he's the only driver that we didn't get a recent lap with. So this is really his best chance to get a better time before the end of the session. Him and Killswitch don't exactly need to worry though, because there is still one more session for both of them. For Kemajur, this is pretty much it. This is the final lap Kemajur will get. He might get one other lap, but for the most part, Kemajur is pretty much just going to be done and dusted here. So Kemajur is going to make his run down into turns 10A and 10B. He is up though. It's a personal best in the session for Kemajur on what is his final lap here. So Kemajur snapping, and I think that's going to be it for his lap. So coming across the line, not an improvement. BP, not an improvement either. So I think Kemajur is going to go ahead and drop the final lap announcement. And then we'll go ahead and just talk through who goes where in terms of this. So this is the final lap. So BP does get another lap, able to put one on the board. Killswitch is done. His best time was a 109.481. Just over 2.5 tenths behind Pixel there. So he will reside in P12 actually at the moment. Kemajur getting demoted down into P10. And BP going up to P6. Maybe even higher, depending on how this lap is going to go. He's about to cross the sector time, so we'll see that sector split. He's improving, though, so I think he actually might be able to jump aces here. 106.131 is the time to beat if he wants to jump into that top 5. Oh, by 4,000ths of a second, he stays in P6, and that is time. By 4,000ths of a second, Flaring Aces keeps his P5, BP goes to P6, and that is the end of the session here. So, that is pretty much all we have for you here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in today, and once again, Kemajur is done. He will sit in P10. He has done both of his sessions. He's put a 107.811 or 881. So he does improve his personal best time overall. He did get a personal best improvement. I didn't see that, but that is his personal best time, so that will be an improvement. And so he will remain in P10 though, but it is an improvement nevertheless by just under a tenth. And then Killswitch will go ahead and slot in under Pixel with a 109.481, and then then BP will jump in with a 106.135. So he'll jump into P6. Well, once again, everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning on in. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Records, and I've been your host and commentator for this qualifying session. So we will see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, and we'll see you then.